Okay, so this is the second support video for the 037 English class today. Today is November the 26th, Thursday. Yeah, and due to those slight spotty service of the Zoom program, we're going to be doing our sharing of information through these quick instructional videos. And the cool thing about these quick instructional videos is you can go back and watch them a number of times if you want to touch on a piece of the information more than once. Okay, so this video is to set you up for today's in-class essay. So not essay, it's an in-class paragraph assignment. I've been getting those two mixed up. I've got essays on the brain, you could say. Okay, so today we're looking at a critical reading and thinking challenge. Now, this is practice for comparison and contrast writing. So let's take a look at the worksheet. Read through the following two short historical stories, analyze them, and then fill in a T-chart to track similarities and differences. So that's the goal of our assignment right there. So maybe we would put goal here. It makes it a bit clearer. So these two historical shorts, as I call them, have been adapted from the book The Greatest Stories Never Told, which is written by really powerful author Rick Bayer. And this was published in 2003, and the publisher is actually the History Channel. So I've made a few changes from the original text, but more or less these come straight out of that cool book that tells us all of these neat little stories, these little snapshots from history that we don't hear. So they usually have some sort of funny or quirky or ironic point to them. So you can see I've given you the title here, Telephone Tale. I've told you the page range where it is found within that original text and the year that this story is talking about. And then you've got your text here. So this is story number 1. You'll read through that, think carefully, make some notes. You can use the color coding, highlighting if you want to separate things into which ideas you think are important. This is page 2 of that original story. And here is historical short number 2, and it's called The Gun Meant to Save Lives. So right within that title, we can even begin to tease out some irony. And yeah, this one happened just a year later in 1861. So you read both stories, and then once you've done the reading, you come to the writing section here. So the writing task will be to finish reading and analyzing the short stories. Then you're going to fill out the T-chart looking for similarities and differences that the two stories have between them. So there'll be some points that you can say, yes, these both of these stories show this. And then you also find the differences. Story 1 shows this, but story 2 is the opposite. And so it's good to remind us what are some similarity cues that can help us when we are wanting to talk about these in our writing. Okay, so we've got how many here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, of course, you could also use the comma and structure. So you have sentence, or you have idea 1, and then you go comma and then you put idea 2, and then end your period. And then for differences, So that's a fairly good list of cues, and then you would want to go on to find those points of similarity and difference. Okay, so this is the writing activity for today. You're going to read the two short stories. You're going to look for similarities and differences. You're going to fill in the T-chart right here, and then at the bottom, you move into actually writing your paragraph. So now here's the writing prompt. Now write a compare and contrast paragraph that clearly lays out at least two similarities and two differences. So it's going to be quite a long paragraph, right? Because to talk about similarities and differences does take time to develop the ideas. So your discussion must try to include our triad of support writing method. And therefore, I want to see correct citations. Now, here's the tricky part. Because both of these short stories are written by the same guy, that Rick Bayer, instead of using Bayer, the author's name, you will use the story titles, okay, in place of the author's name. So this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm throwing a bit of a curveball at you here, but I want to see if you can manage to work within this new kind of shift. So instead of the author's last name, because we already know that the author is the same for both those stories. So make sure to come up with a clever title. So that's another little tip here that I'm throwing out for you. Every good essay needs a clever title to catch the reader. That's part of your hook process. And the word length we're looking for between 190, 350. And the citations, I want a minimum of 3, a maximum of 5. So that's the writing prompt. This document is also available on VIU Learns, so you can take your time and read through it all again, and actually all of the instructions are already there. So that's read and think, analyze, similarities, differences, write your draft, and then give yourself a little bit of soak time, and finally submit your draft. So this will be due today by 1:30 p.m. So this is a chance for you to provide that credible evidence that I've been talking about. Show me you can write.